My name is Gavin Evans, and this is my review of the entire series of Luthor, and this review will have spoilers, so there's your warning. But I heard so many amazing things about this show. People really love it, and I wanted to give it a try, so I went out and bought the entire series. And I was hoping to love it. But after watching it, this is the most overrated show I've ever seen in my life. And this might be the worst show that has multiple seasons that I've watched all the way till the end. I despise this show. But I'll begin talking about the cast, and Idris Elba does a fine enough job. At the start, he carries it very well, and he has charisma, he's got personality, but the longer the show goes on for, the less he has to work with, and it's just ultimately a case of the character growing stale. You know, you've got to evolve him in some way. You've got to change him in some way. And I just felt the character and the performance to be stagnant. You know, you take a show like, let's say, Bryan Cranston in Breaking Bad. Perfect example. The way that character escalates, the way that Bryan Cranston plays him, it's always evolving, and I think it just makes for one of the best performances ever. And I think Idris Elba has it in him to give a fantastic performance, but he's really held back by the writing here. Then you've got Ruth Wilson, who I've seen in movies like The Lone Ranger and Saving Mr. Banks, but she really does stand out here. She has so much personality, and I like how she plays a femme fatale type of character. She's a badass, she's capable, and I wish she had more to do as well. It just feels like a one-note performance, despite Ruth Wilson's best attempts. Dermot Crowley, I think, is consistently fine. He's never bad, but he doesn't have a big enough personality to really stand out. Indira Varma plays Zoe in season 1, and I think she was very good, and I really felt her absence for the rest of the show. I've got Cynthia Weaver in the movie, who I thought gave a really good performance. She's a character who's hunting Luthor and then has to work with him, and I just thought she brought so much to this character. And like everyone else is just completely bland and forgettable. Just nobody else stands out in any way. The good guys, the bad guys, just all flat. Like you've got someone like Stephen McIntosh who plays Ian. Someone Luthor trusts, who betrays him and sets him up. And he still ends up being a completely dull, forgettable villain. You've got Warren Brown, who dies, and it's supposed to have lots of impact, but his performance and his character is just so flat. So, yeah, no one else really stands out. The story itself is just, there's no clear, cohesive story. It's just, episodic storytelling without any weight or emotion or thematic depths behind it. Season 1 is 4 different cases of the week with a 2-part finale. Season 2, I think, has a couple of villains, same as season 3, and I don't know, it's just either 1-part episodes or 2-part episodes, and it's this case and this case, then this case, and there's very little connective tissue. I could watch a season 4 episode after season 1 and it would still make perfect sense. I like it when there's a clear progression, when there's a clear escalation, and I feel like we don't even get that. It feels like they want to give Luthor some sort of a redemptive arc, but they don't really commit to it either. So it's just all over the place. I find the storytelling to be very underwhelming and just as generic as can be. There's not a memorable plot beat of this show, and even stuff that I kind of liked at the start just fades away. You've got this relationship between Luthor and Zoe, and she dies, and you just completely forget about her in the latter seasons. It has no weight that carries over. He gets betrayed by a friend, and it has no weight that carries over. And then you've also got Luthor getting set up for a crime at the end of seasons 1, 3, and 5, and that got old really quickly. You've got these scenarios where the villain kidnaps someone Luthor cares about, and that grew stale for me really quickly, and I never cared. So it's like they're trying to have weight and emotion, but they don't understand what gives a story emotion and weight. So it's just the worst kind of storytelling, and the direction by Neil Cross and Jamie Payne for the movie is just as flat as it comes. There's nothing here stylistically that stands out. It's not incredibly well shot or anything. It's very just fine. There's nothing great about editing or anything. It's never tense or thrilling. The fight sequences never stand out. It never has a real emotional moment. And it's just not trying to explore any bigger ideas. It's just, I don't know. I don't know why people talk about this show like it smiles better than CSI. It's just more of the same kind of storytelling, and it's just utterly forgettable, and it is way too stretched out. Almost every single episode is 30 minutes too long. There's no justification for the episode's length. Just none. There's just not enough substance there. The show has some of the worst pacing I've ever experienced. And it's just a completely boring and forgettable show that no matter how hard I try, I could not get engaged with almost anything past season 1. So I think this show has a couple decent performances. I think it showed some promise at the start, but at the end it's the worst show I've watched all the way through. So I'm going to go ahead and give Luthor a 1 out of 10. I will never watch this show again. But what are your thoughts on Luthor? Let me know in the comments down below. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Stay tuned for more videos soon. And Gavin, out.